In order to truly understand the power of truthful history, we must take you to a young man named DeAndre. DeAndre was an above average student, but he was also a bully in school. If we look here at his grades, he had A's, B's, and C's. His grades were decent, but what's most important is right here, his behavior. As we know, his attitude can affect his altitude. It says here, DeAndre, you must improve your behavior in PE and art. DeAndre, you have too much temper and you're causing trouble with your classmates. So the question is, what is going on in this young man's life that's causing him, even though his academics are decent, but is causing his behavior to be totally out of order? All right, let's take a look. One thing, DeAndre's father left his mother with 6 children. That means DeAndre, he lived with his grandmother with 6 siblings and his mom and an alcoholic brother. What I want to do now is share some facts about DeAndre, and then I want you to determine, will this young man make success or will this young man be a statistic and might end up being a failure? DeAndre's family life, self-esteem, academics, and future. His mother had twins at 17 years old and a 3rd child when she was 19. So imagine a teenage mother, 3 children by the time she's 19. Most people will say whoever she's raising, those children will probably not make it. Let's continue. His father abandoned his family when he was 2 years old. He had 4 sisters, a brother, DeAndre, and his mother. They lived in their grandmother's home with an alcoholic uncle. 9 people living in a 3-bedroom home. Now let's be honest for a second. Whenever you have 9 people living in a 3-bedroom home, there may be all sorts of drama going on in that household that might impact his academics and his behavior. DeAndre was an angry child. He was a bully. He got into many fights. His first encounter with law enforcement was elementary school. So imagine this, he's in elementary school already having an encounter with law enforcement. So do you see where we're going with this young man? Sometimes he disrespected his teachers and got put out of an elementary school. What is he doing to get put out of an elementary school? Also, he was the darkest child, low self-esteem, and he was teased a lot and he had anger. So let's pause for a second as we talk about the Black series. And I know for a fact, many times in African American or even African communities, the darker you are, the more ridicule you get. All of that is a direct result of white supremacy. And one thing we're going to talk about in this series is the impact that racism and white supremacy has had on the entire world. You do not have to be white to be a white supremacist. And finally, his father didn't tell him that he loved him or that he was even proud of him. So imagine growing up and you're not hearing those important words, I love you, son, I'm proud of you. So this is what I want you to do, whether you're a parent or whether you're a teacher. With the young people that you're watching this with, I want you to pause the video in between and ask them, what do you think about DeAndre? So the first question is, did he join a gang? If he did, what gang do you think he joined? Did he smoke? Did he drink? Did he pop pills? Did he skip school? What was his behavior like? And how are his grades? So think about all of the things that we just talked about. All of the scenarios in this young man's life, what are the things that you think happened? And speaking of his grades, how do you think his middle school's grades were? How do you think his high school grades were? Do you think he improved or do you think his grades went down? So I want you to have that conversation, and when you're done, come right back to the video and we'll continue. Look at DeAndre's middle school grades. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 B's and 2 A's. Not so bad. Middle school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B's and 1 A. So as we can see, DeAndre was not a dumb student. He was just misbehaved. I know many people don't like the word dumb, but he was not academically challenged. Now let's take a look at high school. But before we go to high school, feel free to pause the video, talk to your students, talk to your children, and ask them, what do you think? How do you think he was able to maintain grades like this with behavior like that? Okay? In high school, freshman year, DeAndre, he was taking biology, Spanish, algebra, debate, real classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's and 2 B's. So he even got stronger in high school, academically speaking. Sophomore year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 A's, 1 B. Junior year, 1, 2, 3, 4 A's, 3 B's. So we can see senior year, he started strong and he finished pretty strong. He ended up graduating with a 3.5 cumulative GPA. He ranked 125 out of 759 students. DeAndre was in the National Honor Society, Social Studies Honor Society, and the Spanish Honor Society. So here's the $10 million question that teachers want to ask. How do you impact an at-risk student? How do you impact an at-risk young man or young woman who may have challenges in the home, who may care about academics or may not care about academics, who may respect his teachers or he very well may not respect his teachers? How do you create impact on that particular student? Let's talk about DeAndre. So what do you think happened after high school? If you would like, why don't you pause the video right now and then discuss amongst yourself. When you press play, then I'll tell you exactly what happened to DeAndre after high school. After high school, DeAndre had a full academic scholarship to college. He did not go to college because of sports. He went to college because of his academics. As a matter of fact, he was such a strong student that they put him on the brochures at the university. All right, let's take a look at DeAndre. What did he do in college? Over 50,000 students. He was a student government vice president. He was a homecoming king. He was advisor to the president of the university. So the university president has student advisors, of which he was one. He was also on the dean's list, outstanding sophomore and junior. He had internships. He was also a community leader. He was also a public school mentor. So imagine, many people would have written off DeAndre a long time ago. They would have said, hey, kicked out of elementary school, trouble with the law in elementary school, single parent mom, uncle is an alcoholic, 9 people in a 3-bedroom. So then how was DeAndre able to get to college and graduate college? As a matter of fact, what do you think DeAndre is doing now? I'll share with you. DeAndre, right now, is standing in front of you speaking about the power of truthful history, because I know for a fact in my life, history played a major role. My first name is Dwayne, my middle name is Andre, my last name is Bryant, and they called me DeAndre because of what happened to me. And I'm going to share with you how I was able to pivot and transform. I've been able to impact thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives. Now, in 1993, I graduated college. I began my corporate career with Johnson & Johnson. I started in multiple states, 4 promotions within 4 different states in a 6-year career. So therefore, I was prepared and ready. So the big question once again is how? How do you transform the life of an urban child, male or female? How do you get that child to go from disrespecting teachers to loving and respecting teachers? From having problems with the law to actually working with and training law enforcement and working with law enforcement in various states. From being a bully to fighting to actually teaching lessons and assignments on bullying education. So the next time we come back together, we're going to discuss the how. Because remember, we're talking about the power of truthful history. And once you understand that when you speak the truth, only the truth is what's going to set our young people free. My name is Dwayne Bryant. I look forward to seeing you in the second episode.